we can help you. That's JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
All right, Noel Norman's coming up next as our coverage continues. Noel, what you could be talking about? Snow.
I'm not sure.
Snow, I would think, would be one thing.
Snow, and more snow. We'll visit with Scott Walker. We'll visit with Craig Jacomon from Craig's Electrical, Michael Heck, Jacob Pouchot from the State Police, Kelly Schultz from New Orleans and Company, the parish president of St. Bernard, Louis Pomez, Jacques Thibodeau from GOSEP, J.P. Morrell, our friends over at Pipes R Us, Ray Smith, and I think Hassan Corbin's going to join us right at the end.
You're not a fan of the nanny state, but as a former sheriff, your words to people about driving around today?
Don't do it.
Okay, there you go. And again, it all depends on, as Brooke Laser was saying, when it thaws, does it evaporate? Does it freeze again overnight? Another hard freeze coming up. And if you got pipes that are frozen, God bless you. We'll talk more about it. Noel's next, WWL.
Continuing coverage of the winter storm on 870 AM WWL New Orleans, 105.3 WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, an Odyssey station.
WWL First News. Good morning. It's 10 o'clock. I'm Courtney P. on your official weather station, WWL.
Sunshine and eventually melting snowpack. It will be slow to melt as temperatures only rise above the freezing mark for a few hours this afternoon before falling again overnight tonight to continue with travel concerns into Thursday morning. We'll gradually warm into the weekend, but it will take quite a few days for all of this snowfall to melt.
WWL TV meteorologist Brooke Laser has a full look at the forecast in just a few moments. 9.5 inches. That's how much snow fell in the city of New Orleans. That's the most since 1895. As WWL's Dave Cohen tells us, travel will be severely restricted for a couple more days.
Major roads, thoroughfares, and bridges are covered in deep snow, and there just isn't the equipment to clear them. Carlton Dufershow, general manager of the Causeway, talks about just how much snow there is on his bridge.
It's got anywhere from 10 inches to in some places 18 inches of it.
He's done the math and says removing all that snow is nearly impossible.
6.5 million cubic feet.
He says they're going to try to clear one lane if they can, but ultimately they're waiting for it to melt, and that may not happen till Friday.
The Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development is doing its best to get those roads back to normal. DOTD Secretary Joe Donahue says crews are out in full force, tending to the roadways.
We continue to be in a 24-hour operation mode and have transitioned from pre-treatment to snow removal and treatment with salt.
Locally, the city of New Orleans has called in snow plows to clear the city's streets. But even as the snow is cleared, ice remains. That's where WWL's Chris Miller picks up our coverage.
The high temperature should get above freezing today. It may even stay that way long enough to melt ice and snow off some roads. But state climatologist Jay Grimes says it might not get warm enough long enough for that water to evaporate.
That is going to refreeze and refreeze hard as we get into Wednesday evening into Thursday.
And that's why we will have to wait even Thursday morning for conditions to return to normal.
And because of those severe conditions on local and state roadways, Governor Jeff Landry is ordering all state government offices to remain closed today and tomorrow. Governor Landry continues to urge people to stay off the roads.
If you stay off the roadway, you will make it easier for us to get back to normal travel as the weather improves.
The winter storm and the virtual shutdown of the city and state will no doubt impact local businesses, especially restaurants and hotels and their employees. WWL's Joe Cardosi has that story.
The unprecedented snowfall the New Orleans area is experiencing has affected everyone. In a city known for its hospitality and service industry workers who rely on tips from patrons for most of their wages may feel the brunt of the snow in especially hard. UNO business professor Mark Rosa.
NOLA, being a service-driven economy, breaks of pay, be it, it snows for a couple of days or we got a hurricane that came through. It just goes to emphasize you just need to have a budget with a reasonable parameter, and you have to have some kind of savings on the side because things happen that won't stop.
Joe Cardosi, WWL First News.
The snowpocalypse will have a negative impact on the crawfish industry, but only in the short term. LSU Ag Center crawfish expert Mark Shirley says the crustaceans will bury themselves as deep into the mud as they can to stay warm.
It's not going to kill the crawfish, but it will significantly reduce their movement. So I think the supply of crawfish over the next several days, well, probably for the next week or so, is going to be a shorter supply of crawfish.
According to Shirley, farmers will start harvesting again once temperatures rise over the weekend. Full coverage of the historic snowstorm continues throughout the day on WWL-AM-FM.com and the Odyssey app.
CBS News Brief. President Trump has suspended the refugee admissions program. And correspondent Cammie McCormick reports things are already grinding to a halt.
The State Department has now canceled all refugee travel to the U.S. Guidance to resettlement agencies says that includes previously scheduled travel, and no new bookings will be made. All